Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, race fans from around the world, wherever you're joining us tonight. Very, very nice to have you with us again for another fantastic evening of racing ahead. Welcome back, of course, the Alliance Sim Racing V8 Supercars series. This is season number 2. This is round number 4. My name is Jared Cole, and on behalf of Simple Racing Broadcast, I'm very excited to have you along again this evening. And, of course, joined in the commentary booth by my good friend Dean Biggles Hopton. Biggles, how are you this evening, mate?
G'day. I'm pumped, of course, to be over here in the United States of America and one of those classic tracks here in Long Beach on the Californian coast. It's tricky. Those wheels will certainly come out and bite you if you make mistakes. I'm expecting some of the drivers. The fountain section as well, too. Get your fold-up chairs there and get your flip-flops on, a bit of slip, slop, and slap, and watch some of the action as these gladiators are going to be making their way around this fantastic street circuit.
Yeah, not a truer word spoken. That fountain section, I tell you what, in most cars that is, to say the least, terrifying. In a V8 supercar, I can only imagine what this is going to be like tonight for these drivers. They're physically massive cars. I don't know what to expect, whether we're going to see anyone trying to make a bit of a dive into turn 1 and make the pass, or what's going to happen tonight. It's really, look, anything could happen, and I'm here for it. I really am.
There are, Jared, there are overtaken opportunities for sure around this track. It's more about keeping out of the fence too, and delivering good race strategy. To me, mate, last time I seen V8 supercars around a coastal track, you're a Queenslander. We go to the old Gold Coast, Gold Coast, of course.
Surfers Paradise.
Surfers Paradise that they used to do back in the day. Remember, even with the IndyCar, you can't be able to kart series.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it, since we last saw something in terms of a street circuit here in Queensland, of course. But look, street circuits really, they're where V8 supercars were born. If we're being honest, that's what they've always been about. And so Long Beach almost feels like a home away from home. It may be, over in the other side of the world, being in California and all, but really the tight circuit, the walls right next to you the whole way along, it's what these cars were made for at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, you got to be grazed up. You got to be door banging cars to get past, to get overtakes done. You have to be scraping it up against the fence. You have to explore the absolute limits. No paint, nothing will be buffed out at the end of this race, apart from somebody's going to be buffing the trophy, holding that one up, saying, I've conquered Long Beach. And that itself is one of those trophies you want to have on your cabinet. Who wants it? It's going to be the key, isn't it? We've got the man in the championship lead that potentially at the moment can set more of a standard as we go deeper into the season.
Absolutely. And look, we're not quite halfway through this 10-round season, so still a little way to go. But let's talk about tonight. Round 4 here at Long Beach. Conditions-wise, again, absolutely perfect for these drivers. Beautiful track temps, beautiful air temps. You'd almost, if it was just a tad warmer, you'd almost head to the beach instead of racing, let's be honest. But this course, a couple of turns that I really am going to try and keep an eye on tonight. Turn 11 to start from the back and work our way around. That final hairpin onto the home straight it's got to be one of the tightest turns that I think I can recall on any track in iRacing. There's very little margin for error in that one, is there?
Oh yeah, I think I mentioned to you in the green room the other day about how I commentated on a Formula One series with the W12s or W13s something like that at the time, and they had a GT3 as a pace car, and it couldn't get the turn in there, crashed, and caused a bit of a pile up behind.
It's not hard to believe at all, is it? You've got to, in some of the cars, you actually have to light the rears up and get it to spin around to make it around that hairpin. It's phenomenal. It really is. But look, I mean, that's the fun. That's why we're here tonight, after all. So looking forward to it. We do, of course, have 2 races tonight. So the drivers just starting their qualifying session now. We'll take a bit of a look at that in just a moment. Heat 1, again, we're into a sprint. 16 laps here around Long Beach. No compulsory pit stops. It is just an all-out sprint from start to finish. And I am predicting carnage. Absolute carnage. That's my prediction for the sprint race tonight. Then following that,
you say that every week.
Oh, look, it feels that way, I know, but this is Long Beach. I mean, does it get worse than that in terms of what could potentially happen? Okay, let me take it a step further then. We're not just going to see carnage. What we're going to see is a full course stoppage because of cars blocking, Austin Powersing themselves between the walls. I reckon we're actually going to see that tonight, and if it's going to happen, it's going to be in the sprint race. I know these guys are amazing drivers. They're all over it. The skill level in this series is probably one of the highest I've seen outside of the pros categories, but it's Long Beach. You know, it's going to throw it at them. That's the sprint race to start with. Then we go into our feature tonight, 32 laps, so twice as far to go. 1 compulsory pit stop. That pit stop must be made after lap 5 and before they start lap 20. So there's a reasonably short pit window for them to actually get that compulsory pit stop in tonight. So that's going to add another strategic challenge for these drivers to work alongside just trying to survive getting around the Long Beach circuit. So that's what we've got in store for this evening. Let's take a quick look before we do go and have a bit of a look-see at what's going on in qualifying at the championship standings as they are right now. So Matt Vanderkraan, Angry Birds Racing, leading the way. Not a long way ahead, though, of Stephen Varga and Travis Hunt. Those 3 have really swapped positions a fair bit already so far in this season. And so the 3 of them will be the ones to watch tonight as they look to extend their lead in the championship. Chris Burridge from M1 Racing not far behind in 4th with Rick Vigard there. Troy Sipple, Damon Fisher, Matthew Stoyles, Trav Daly and Peter Latham rounding out the top 10. But not a lot to separate them. If we look at the points, you know, the top 3 have sort of really started to stamp their mark, and Chris Burridge not far behind either. But from there back, it's anyone's game. Even tonight, we could see a huge change in the running for this championship. As we take a look back further in the field, Daniel Sheriff's not far outside the 10. He's actually tied for 10th on 914 there. So Scott Perrins in behind him with Gary Buckland and Jason Dunn. Peter Sattler, then the Quantum Peckies Racing triplet of Mark Peck, Dylan Sipple and Todd Martin all sitting there just ahead of Joseph Granshaw and James Hardy rounding out the top 20. With Anita Buckland, Matt Wicks, Phil Marsh, Steve Kennedy, Simon Haynes, of course, in there as well. Nick Hausler, Sean Vandermeulen, Chad Figure and Craig Rose all sitting just ahead of Tyrone Anderson. And then a little further back, we start to get into a few of the drivers we haven't seen regularly so far this season, but still some points on the board in the lower quartile here between 30 and 40. So look, plenty more points on the line tonight, and of course after this round we've still got another 6 to go in the season, so anything's possible at this stage. I'd still be holding out hope if I was one of the drivers.
Any of those drivers you said in the midfield there, as you're looking at about 4 down, as Chad spins his qualifying lap, are the ones that could pick up a good hurl of points here this evening, and that's a good way to almost approach halfway the next half of the season on a positive note. That's probably going to be the crucial thing as well too. But judging by Maddie's Vanderkran's pace that we've seen during the practice session so far, he might be very much the man here in Long Beach to beat this evening. But it's one thing to qualify, it's one thing to practice, it's another thing to come home with race results.
Absolutely, and look, still half of our qualifying session to go, but I reckon this is probably about the most spaced out top 10 that we've seen in terms of results so far. Like having a look at the separation, and obviously more laps to run for everybody here, but we're used to seeing the top 10 separated by maybe half a second. We've got we've got a bit more than a second separating the top 10 as it stands right now, which is pretty significant for these guys. So it'll be interesting to see how that does play out tonight and whether we do see that tighten up as we get a bit closer. Trav Hunt setting a cracking third sector, but not enough to actually move any further up than P3 at the moment. Look, eyes on who tonight? That's the question. I don't really know who to watch tonight. I mean, Matt Van der Kraan fast as always, Biggles, but a couple different names popping up there in the top 10 at the moment.
I'd say the Travises. Keep an eye on both of those. Travis Hunt and Travis Dalley. Also Stephen Varga as well. He's looked to be pretty sharp during the practice session. A lot more time in the practice sessions they're going to have during the qualifying. And because during the qualifying, of course, you make one little slap against the fence there, you've scrubbed that speed. That's the reason why you're seeing such as Chris Barrage goes, drifting actually out of one of the turns. Can't quite see in my track map where he is, but the man that's currently in P2 pushing the M1 racing machine through its ring in its neck, actually. But once again, that comes down to the reason why you see such a spread for about a second separating the top 12 is because, it's so tricky as a street circuit to get it spot on the right during qualifying. You will see them close during the race because, everybody's going to make little mistakes, going to cross 1/10 or 2/10, and that's fine. They will all be bunched up, and therefore you get one thing to catch, nothing to overtake kind of scenario.
Just the Martin just bouncing his way over the sausage curbs of Long Beach. Honestly, I just want to call this out. Sausage curbs are not exactly my favourite
No
thing.
entrance there, mate. No, Todd, mate. That's wrong pit lane entrance. Don't go reverse the back of the track and get disqualified.
The sausage curbs at Long Beach just seem like an unnecessarily cruel addition to this track. They really do. Like it's...
You're tough in California, mate.
They are, but...
right.
Jeez, I tell you what,
you're down the beach there with Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff like that, lifting weights, you know what I mean? Down the Muscle Beach. That's how you get it done.
Maybe. As we see the drivers just finishing up. We've got a couple minutes left to run and a couple drivers still out on track looking to set their...
Yeah, you want to give us a hot lap at least? Go on board with one of the drivers at the moment. I know that Rick's probably... No, not Rick's not out there. Todd Martin, I think, is out, yes. So,
it's just
at least for a little bit of a hot lap.
I don't know that we've got much of a hot lap left in us here. But we'll see how the qualifying results do end up as these drivers start to just wrap it up. Let's go on board though with Todd Martin and see just what it's like in a V8 supercar around Long Beach. Oh yeah, it's a bit like that. It's a bit like that, I reckon.
You called it, mate. Yeah, exactly. I think Todd gave us a demonstration. He goes around the fountain. Can go over the fountain. I have seen cars do that, but strongly not recommend if you want to finish the race.
Yeah, not great for the condition of your vehicle, really, is it?
No. We're in the fountain as well too. Get a drink, hydrate, of course. Does lift it off a little bit. He knows he's bunged the first part of the qualifying, but a little bit of practice, I'd say, and it's not too bad. Just to come back. I think Jason done some parking on track and Rick the gas. So that's it. It's just this man Todd. So you probably noticed he's got airtime and give us a little bit of a drifting. From the Mad Kiwi drifting, Mad Max, isn't it?
Yeah,
Mad Max,
Mad Mike,
the drifting.
Mad
Mike, that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, my apologies.
Look,
give us a Mad Mike there, Todd. I think Todd's onto it.
He's done it again.
He's given us a nice drift of a Long Beach.
Tell you what, you got to admire Mad Mike. The same sort of power as one of these supercars in an MX-5 is just a little bit nutty. But
you see him absolutely drifting coming out of the corner. Just absolutely on the gas. Just this is having some fun because we're down to the dying stages of qualifying right now.
We'll leave him to finish that off. That's Todd Martin taking us on a lap around Long Beach. So we've just got a little under a minute for the last drivers to kind of finish their laps out there, and then we'll take a look at the grid for the start of this evening's race. Any thoughts from you, Biggles? We've sort of seen a real variety with these drivers so far in terms of I suppose the approach to racing, particularly when it comes to that compulsory pit stop. We've seen quite a number of drivers who have tried to push that pit stop as early as possible. And in some cases it's paid off, some it hasn't. We've seen a lot of drivers wait for the safety car. What do you feel like the strategy is going to be?
You got one up on me already, my friend, so I'm not sure how I'm going to answer this question because if I'm rolling back to last night's race, when I thought it was a completely different strategy that the driver was doing. We found out it's just because he was trying to reach for his water bottle and completely missed his pit stop. So I don't. You've got the one up on me at the moment, so I'm not, how about I answer that question at the end of race 2, and then I'll give my decision after that. No, of course.
You know what? Look, that's reasonable. Yeah. I can't argue with that. Let's take a look at the grid for race number 1. Matt Vanderkraan taking pole again alongside Chris Burridge, Trav Hunt and Damon Fisher hot on their heels though on row 2, and then Daniel Sheriff making another appearance up front alongside Chad Viggar. So those are your top 3 rows. Rick Viggar right in behind alongside Stephen Varga. We'll expect to see him out and about this evening, I'm sure, up near the front of the pack. Troy Sipple and Sean Vandermeulen, he seems to like P10. Seems to like popping up there. Trav Daly and Gary Buckland alongside. Then Peter Latham and Dylan Sipple, Matthew Stoyles and Reg James, and then Simon Haynes and Todd Martin. Just a little further back, Michael Hayes and Peter Sattler rounding out the top 20 with Scott Perrins and James Hardy, followed by Jason Dunn and Philip Marsh back in P24. Then Anita Buckland sitting on her own at the back of the grid, our 25th entry for this evening. That is your grid for race number 1 as the drivers do get themselves set, and we look to go racing very, very soon.
One interesting point is starting at the back is not a bad idea as well. Too, there's a bit of a pile up if you can avoid it. It's also it could be something that's a bit iffy at the same time, my friend. But I did believe the drivers all gone through a kind of pretty extensive drivers meeting as well too, the pre-race meeting. So they're all aware of the danger spots. They're all aware of the situations of what we can and what you can't do. And of course, sometimes some of those rules can play out the window when it comes to race time. But we'll see if everybody's paid attention and are going to be on the Racing Stewards naughty list or not.
Have to wait and see as our drivers are all gridded. We're just waiting on race control to confirm that they are ready to go, but we will be underway in just a moment. Here we go, round 4. We're under starters orders. The lights are up. 16 laps. Our first sprint for the evening here at Long Beach. And we're away. Everyone getting underway really well this time. No stalls on the grid, which is great to see. We don't have room for that tonight. And immediately these guys are absolutely pushing as we get down towards turn 1. This is no doubt going to be messy. I'm always nervous as we get to turn 1 with these guys, even with the quality of drivers that we do have. Let's see if they will make it through.
Well, I think, my friend, they certainly have. And I am impressed. But more importantly, no, there's a pile-up. And it's right in the fountain section. There's a car that's gone around.
There it is.
And that's going to cause a huge collision. That's got to be caution. Nobody can go anywhere. It is a Los Angeles freeway traffic jam. Now they're starting to creep a few drivers through, my friend. But no, they've blocked it because they've spun. And that's it. That's the traffic jam right there at the fountain. I don't know if you can pick it up on the picture-in-picture, but that is it. I've got the helicopter skies on there, and that's the traffic jam on Highway 60, Highway 1. And unfortunately, that's it. But where are they going to go? We've got 2 more cars at the moment blocking it. Now they're starting to clear it up. This is definitely Los Angeles traffic, my friend.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And we do, of course, have the safety car coming out, which is not a great surprise, to be honest.
That's what happens at the fountain, unfortunately. Nowhere for drivers to go. I know. It's a wonder how many drivers got damaged from that. That's probably the key, because now the safety car's just going to restack them and re-rack them.
So let's go back and take a look, see if we can pick this up. I saw Sean Vandermeulen was involved in it early, but I don't know. Oh, just a bit of nose to tail. Okay, so the first one to go around. There you go, Daniel Sheriff, and oh my god, that's bouncing.
They spin the rest, right? He gets spun there. He's got nowhere to go, and then a couple sneak through, and then this car backs up, and that's it. There's a block.
That's your Austin Powers
16
moment.
Just blocks him completely. But then again, at this point, no.
No, what do you do? We'll go back and we'll have a look. So this is Daniel Sheriff's coming into that corner. So he gets a push there from the 505 entry of Damon Fisher, who makes it through. But that's what spun Sheriff's. And yeah, sure enough, it just stopped at that point. You're fuel saving just by waiting for it to all clear up, really, aren't you?
I've never seen. I've seen jams there. I've seen pile-ups there. but not that many that early in the race. So
yeah, it's
there it is. Yeah.
Look, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Just one of those
Are we still
things.
racing? No, we still
No, we are under safety car now.
We are the pace car. Yes,
We're
there
under
is.
safety car.
Pace car is a what is that pace car?
That is, of course, the Ford Mustang GT3 vehicle.
Oh, right. Yeah. So you're going to have everybody in the States here going for that car for a race win. Nice safety car.
Look, thankfully pretty clearly marked for us. And of course, I believe we might have, I don't have confirmation, but I think that we have Scott Bartine behind the wheel tonight, possibly. So Scotty, of course.
Oh yeah, Scotty is.
Before.
I
We've
do
seen
see
him in
Scotty
a couple of other races. So
yeah, we know Scotty's pretty quick anyway in another series, and I saw him on the grid of drivers, but I didn't see him start the race. So I figured Scotty is probably our pace car driver this evening, and Scotty's very capable of handling that. And in fact, Scotty could probably beat half the field as well too in that car, but. Hey,
well, I wouldn't give him the challenge. He's meant to stay at 80k an hour here. Let's be clear. He's under orders.
Yeah, mate, he's a safety car driver. Most of the time they're on the radio one day in Formula One, going, can you get the safety car to go a bit quicker at the moment? We're losing some downforce.
I wonder though, having a look back, I think everyone's managed to get underway from that accident, so it's cleared up. In the sense that everyone is off the track and back into the race line. If we take a look down the back of the field, let's just see if we can find him. So that's Chad Viggar just coming back around. And if we take a look back ahead, there's Daniel Sheriff. So he's tacked onto the back. A bit of damage to that front left, unsurprisingly. But all in all, he's in pretty good shape considering how much of a beating he took as the first car to get spun around. Good to see you here again tonight, Zoe. Welcome back. Pato, you're spot on. A lot of people just trying to push through and maybe clear the way a little bit. I don't think it helped as much as they were perhaps thinking it might. So, anyhow, that is the way it goes sometimes. As we sit and wait for the safety car to come in, I'd be surprised if we don't see it come in this lap.
It should, yeah. Long Beach producers, and of course, thank you very much for tuning in. Give us a like, subscribe. So a few laps that you've seen so far, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more.
Get back up to race pace shortly. It's
it
was always going to happen.
Let's see if they can get
wasn't
through
it?
the fountain section this time safely, at least. And that was just a tiny tag just to turn somebody around. Of course, it's a low speed, but when they're on the gas pedal to exit, and then you get tagged, the rear end, what's it going to do when you're not expecting it to get tagged? You're already loud, it's already spinning, you already got torque momentum going through there, you get turned, and then all of a sudden all the cars unfortunately have absolutely nowhere to go, just like a motorway in California.
Just going to take a look at this and give Scotty Bartine his moment as he pushes the safety car hard to get it back into the pits. So in it comes.
That race, Scotty. Different race, mate. Calm down, Scotty. Calm down.
Good on him. Good on him. He's pitting in. So here we go. Chris Burridge has control. And we are underway again. So, attempt number 2. As we head down towards turn 1. I'm hoping now that we're in a bit of a pace line. This might be a little cleaner as we come on through. But these guys have got to make up quite a bit. Particularly as you look towards some of the drivers that were affected with that incident. We've got Chad Viggar down the back. You've got Daniel Sheriffs. Troy Sipples moving up a fair way as well. It's all going on, but we are through the fountain. Keep an eye on the rest of the pack coming through as well, just to make sure that we do keep it together here. They're getting tight.
Michael Hines is parked a little bit there, but he's actually off the racing line, thankfully. So he's going to let a couple of cars go, but he's not moving. Michael Hayes actually, P17, he finally gets underway, so he crashed, he hit the fence at the same place where we saw that incident earlier, but thankfully he's on his way to the 187 machine in P18.
We'll take a look and just see what's happened if he's had a bit of a nudge on the way in there.
He's lost complete pace, look at it, going into the corner, into that.
Very slow. Actually, I wonder if he's had an incident a little before that, perhaps, and he's gone into the wall before that, because I don't recall seeing anyone get beaten up quite that much on the way through earlier. Anyhow, we'll take a look up front, and here's Chris Burridge leading them round again. Matt van der Kraan in second, Trav Hunt in third, as they belt down the home straight here at Long Beach. Plenty of pace. And I really do hope the crowds are enjoying that this evening, as the V8 Supercars make their presence felt around the streets of California. Here we go again through the fountain, and really quite a bit of a gap starting to open up. It doesn't take much in terms of a drop of pace for those cars behind to really start to lose touch with the leaders here.
Matty's the problem. Yeah, Matty's the problem a little bit. He had a tank slapper in the fence, and I think Travis Hunt's going to be definitely chasing him down right now. Big time, as they're going to be slicing it dicey through, because it'll give Chris Burridge a little bit of breathing space, which is a lot here in this track. Now fighting with the machine, there's Travis Hunt at the moment. So Matt van der Kraan, who was very, very quick during the practice sessions, and also, man, they put it on pole, running in P2 at the moment, electing to lose that position to Chris. As I said, tank slapper in the fence, but he seemed to regain himself at the moment for the Ford 180 machine.
Really interesting set of racing lines you have to take in a supercar around Long Beach. It's not at all what you'd kind of expect in a lot of cases. You know, it's not actually a wide apex wide at a lot of these turns. You have to really make the corner happen almost from the middle of the track in some instances. We see Chris setting the fastest lap there at 1:19.1. So he's certainly got the pace, and that clear area out in front won't be hurting that at all. But Matt van der Kraan and Trav Hunt right behind him. As we see the brakes glowing on the back of van der Kraan's 180 Ford Mustang coming into the fountain there. These three looking to put some space on. Rick Vigard now 1.6 seconds back. So the top three really in a battle of their own at the moment. Let's take a look a little bit further back through the field. So this is Todd Martin. There's Daniel Sheriffs. So he started a long way up the field, but then was obviously taken out in that turn 1, turn 2 incident. So he's now back up into P18. He'll be pushing to try and maximise the points here if he can. But a long, long way to go from where he started in P6, I think it was, for Daniel Sheriffs. P5, sorry. But he's down 13 spots he finds himself now. So a long way to go to make that up. We'll keep an eye up front again, though. Matt van der Kraan making that Mustang as wide as he possibly can.
Oh, it hits the fence. Now compromising him on the exit. That's the final corner. Of course, you mentioned the one that scares you. It scares some of those drivers as well, too. Matt will give Matt a bit of a plunge and actually give Matt a bit of a breathing space against Travis, that was applying a lot of pressure. And now Matt is going to be thinking about trying to get past Chris. He will into turn 1. He's going to back off a little bit. No, he's almost decided to go for it, but just lifts late. It will open the door for Travis, but Travis will back off. No overtaking through here, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. 2 into the fountain equals no one's going anywhere, and we're going to continue for another lap around here in Long Beach. This is fantastic racing. Top 2 drivers at the moment, seeing Chris and Matt making a mistake. I haven't seen Travis making a mistake at the moment yet, but he's ready to pounce if they do up the road.
Tell you what, seeing these guys taking a look that deep and filling the mirrors up. Here we go. Matt van der Kraan gets the drive out of the corner. Is he going to have Chris Burridge here? Burridge taking the defensive line. Oh, he's going to have another crack at it, though. He's taking a look. Van der Kraan knows he's got the pace.
He can.
And here he goes. He's up alongside. This is going to be it. Van der Kraan looking to get back into P1 past Chris Burridge. Going to make his presence felt here, but Burridge squeezes him up against the wall. Van der Kraan finds himself a little out of position. Trav Hunt just waiting for these two to come together now.
Yeah, Trav's got to be very careful at the moment, because he's got to make sure he's going to see his opportunity to get 2 for 1 special even. You can see
there it is.
The discs that are
Trav
glowing.
Hunt straight through.
Got it done. So Chris, our
through.
race leader's dropped 2 places currently at the moment, sitting in P3, but that ain't just yet, because Travis is on the hunt for P1 at the moment. He's got a good exit, a good run into turn 1. He could go out here. I don't think Matt can get across onto the racing line. This could be a switcheroo. See if he just gets it on the guard pedal. This could be for the race win at the moment. No, he's had to lift off a little bit. No, overtaking once again through here. Welcome to Long Beach.
Bloody hell. These guys are throwing it into that fountain. And I didn't expect him to push quite that hard through there. We're, halfway through race number 1. This is our sprint. We know they're going to be pushing hard the whole way. But these drivers really taking every opportunity they can to put pressure on, even if there's no pass to be made.
Well, my friend, that's what I love about this track. The rear spot, you can get it done. It's all switcheroos, but it's all about just braking a little bit later, just going off the racing line, getting a good exit, making them put the power down. You're going to see it again. So here it is. I think, Travis wants this race win at the moment. He wants it, but Matty's just going to cover him off. He knows that he's making this car as wide as possible. Angry birds. You don't mess with the birds when they get angry.
Very, very defensive line from Matt Vanderkruijs. He's really having to block Trevor. Oh, big slide. Trav Hunt goes. Doesn't hit the wall, but it's going to cost him a lot of positions.
Yeah, he's your Austin Powers right now, isn't it? Because he's got to sit there and do like a 20-point turn.
It's a shocker of a spot.
Tooth and nail.
He's going to have a lot of pace to catch up here. He's going to find himself all the way down in P10. Just pushed a little too hard there. Now P11 as Reg James takes advantage as well. Peter Latham, unfortunately, not able to capitalise like everybody else. But up front, that's Matt Vanderkruijs gone around.
Yeah.
Vanderkruijs gone sideways, and now he's going to be right
big names are becoming out of this picture at the moment. He's going to have to gas it. He does. It will bend his fender, his rear fender at the moment as well, trying it. But he is frustrated. He wants to get on the loud pedal. He knows there's a couple of cars coming behind him. And thankfully, he does. How much damage did he get on that one? We'll soon find out. But
not a huge amount of damage, I don't think, but certainly enough. And what a place for that to happen. Just coming out of the fountain.
No one is immune, are they, my friend? And guess what? Chris Barrage, after losing those places, is happy to see both those drivers that overtaken him before. Just, they've lost it. And he's back into P1, and he wasn't even involved in those incidents.
I mean, to finish first you have to finish, right? It proves itself true over and over again with Supercars as we watch the battle here for P4. Gary Buckland holding at the moment. Trav Daly and Matthew Stoyles, though, right there looking for a piece of it. And not too far behind, Trav Hunt up into P9 now. So he's chasing down Matt Vanderkruijs, who finds himself in 7th after that slide. All the action happening here in race number 1, 10 laps down. We're into lap 10 of 16. Oh, a big slide. Huge slide from Matthew Stoyles and into the wall. Can he get it moving before anyone else comes through and takes him out? There's going to be some damage. And no, that's Trav Hunt.
It's caught off Travie.
Trav Hunt just a little late to see Matthew Stoyles sitting there.
Travie would be absolutely frustrated on that one. That's two mistakes in basically a lap. For Travie, he was battling for P1 just less than a minute ago. He was battling for P1. Now, poor Travie, he's down in P13. Unlucky.
He's been pushing hard to get back up there, hasn't he? Didn't want to wait around. Wanted to establish himself. No. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, who's that off to the side there? Go back and see if we can pick up who that is.
James Hardy.
James Hardy.
Into the fence, my friend, and has to sit there and wait. It looks like he's completely damaged his front end too. He may have to wait for a tow. It may be from the car. Safety car's out.
Safety car is coming out again.
I was about to. Yeah, you read my mind, Scotty, who's the safety car driver this evening. I was about to say he's not moving, and that's the safety car.
He's on the way. So this is Chris Burridge and Rick Vigo out in front. So the safety car just coming out of the pit lane now. There's going to be a lot of drivers to come past before these guys catch them. Let's see if we can go back and just take a look and see what's happened to poor old James Hardy there that's ended up with him in the wall. So he's carrying some damage.
Yeah. So he's trying to nurse it home. He's really slow. No, that's it. It's cooked it. Maybe the engine's done.
Oh, yeah. That front end already looking very badly damaged. You can see it just moving around there, and he couldn't.
He can't turn it.
Couldn't turn it. That's going to have done huge damage to
That's why he slowed down. I don't know if you can go on board, but he slowed down completely because the steering rack's probably absolutely done and dusted, and he couldn't turn it. And therefore he slowed completely off. He's lifted off, and then it's realised, and probably race controls on there going, mate, I can't do anything. Get the crane out. I need to pick up. I need to tow.
Got to wonder, James Hardy only came out of the pits on that lap as well, so I don't know what's happened along the way that's caused that damage, but it's been enough. It's definitely been enough. So we wait.
Scotty's slowing down to pick up everybody at the moment, which would be Chris. Oh, there's Chris is going to catch up the safety car right now, and whoa, that was a bit of a traffic jam. I think it almost caught him off guard there. I thought this one was going to be a pile-up. Heading into just catch. I'm telling you what, you're going to be very cautious around this track, my friend. As I said, I've seen incidents of safety cars involved And luckily, Chris had picked up the safety car there of Scott Bartone, who's driving it. And Rick and Stephen Varga will be picking it up there, and then the rest of the field will be starting to come through there. This could also be a good thing right now, you would have to say, for Matt Vanderkran, right? Because he's dropped those places, but he's now going to be sliced up against Travis Daly. And perhaps if we go back to Travis Hunt as well, too, who dropped those places, well, he could catch up as well to the rest of the field.
Going to bunch them all up again, and we're at 12, so we're in for perhaps a 3-lap sprint to the end here. There's every opportunity for Vanderkran to get back up front and just try and regather a few points that he lost with those incidents. So too, Trav Hunt, who even though he's had more than his fair share of incidents tonight, still finds himself in P13, so he's only about halfway down the field. You can kind of see him just towards the back of the shot there now. So he's back there. Got a few drivers in front of him to make his way through before he's going to be able to make too much of it.
I think he's in a prime position to think about the next race as well. Some of these drivers, that's going to be a bit of a key. Where you're going to be positioning yourself in that grid when it forms out for the feature race. So drivers are going to be willing to sacrifice a place, perhaps, or even gain a place when you're back in that field. Of course, Chris is going to be thinking, in the 42 Ford M1 racing machine, I want to race back. That's crucial points for me. I don't want to yield it. I don't care where I'm going to start in the feature race. I just want to get this one done. And he can. He's been leading the race. He's been up there. He overtook, remember, Matt, who put the Angry Birds racing car on pole. And even though he did yield a couple of those places, both those drivers that he was fighting with are now behind him. And that's crucial. Chris just needs to bring this one home.
Absolutely right. All he has to do at this point is hold off the pack behind him for a couple of laps. And really, he doesn't even have to be running at absolute, best lap pace to do that. It's going to be enough to just cause enough of a blockage of the track with his own car that no one else can get through. I know, easier said than done, sure, but really, it's his to lose at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially because once you get up to pace, there's only got a couple laps to go, so it's really, it takes you what we've seen in Long Beach, it takes a couple of laps to start sizing up ready your opponent to get the overtake done. You're not going to have enough time, not in this first heat race. So he should know that in the back of his head, and just once again make his car a little bit wide as possible. I don't think you'd be expecting any dives from Vic Vergar or Simon Varga behind him. It's too much for them to risk it for the biscuit in a situation where we're not fighting for a championship. We're still not even halfway through the round, to the series.
Here we go, a few waiver rounds happening. So Jason Dunn, Peter Sattler, we've got Michael Hayes getting a wave around there and back onto the lead lap. James Hardy, he's done for the night, unfortunately for him. But a few waiver rounds here to get those few drivers back onto the lead lap, so they'll be.
Scotty Bartone leading the race again. Scotty,
look at him go!
What's going on? I mean, he hasn't led almost every lap this race, but he has led a few. Oh, what do you reckon as well, too, my friend? God, I know I'm a bit back to Australia at the moment. I'm starting to use the words like Wreckham again. Reckon, not Wreckham, reckon.
I mean, there's a bit of Wreckhaming going on tonight.
Let's string this into a sentence properly, all right?
Let's give it a shot.
What do you reckon about them reckon again? Because safety cars breed safety cars.
With just a few laps to go, I'm confident that they're going to hold it together here. I think at this stage, most of these drivers are just thinking if they do crash at this point of the race, that's a lot of points gone.
These are drivers you're talking about, my friend. They know what he's thinking.
I know.
Logical.
I know.
I love drivers, my friend, but when you're in the heat of the moment and you're driving at 200 miles an hour and you're just trying to get the job done on OT, yes, but we'll be getting ready for the green flag conditions for the final couple of laps here of Heat 1.
Away we go. So this is on board now with Rick Vigar. As he charges down in pursuit of Chris Burridge, who got a massive jump off the start, but take a look behind. Stephen Varga. We know he's quick. Let's see what he's going to do here. Pushes right up on the rear bumper of Rick Vigar, but wanting to make it through and just maintain that spot for the last 3 laps of race 1 here.
Yeah, Rick Vergara, of course, can try to help out his teammates somewhere along the line. Now, that's Matt Vandercraft, the Angry Birds Racing team. That's crucial in the championship. If Rick can do something about that as well, which would be helping. But Chris is on the gas loud pedal at the moment. He's going, my friends, I've been leading a lot of this race, and all I have to do is lead a couple more laps, and I've got this one in the bag. And I think at the moment, unless Chris has a little bit of an uninvited date into the fence, he should have this one for Heat 1.
You'd have to hope so, wouldn't you? He's done well to just survive it so far. So we see the pace line coming through these last couple of turns and back around onto the main straight. Chris Burridge has done everything right tonight. He's kept himself out of trouble, kept the nose clean. And as race one goes, you can't ask for much more than that in amongst a couple of safety cars, really, can you?
Yeah, especially when the two guys that you were tattling with are both back behind you. Matty in P6 and Travis in P12. So, yep, he's going to say luck is going his way, and hopefully luck will continue to go Chris's way to finish Heat 1.
Good,
but further back,
good
it's more about Matty
points.
back in battle too, isn't it? With Gaza, I think it is. Gary Buckland's going around, losing a couple of places. He's almost slow to the fountain circuit. He's costing a lot of time for the rest of the field there. Something happened with Gaza, and it's holding up the rest of the pack here late in the dying stages of Heat 1.
This is the battle for P6. Dylan Sippel leading out a train of cars all the way back to his dad, Troy Sippel, in P13. Oh, we see Sean Vandermeulen's gone around.
Oh!
Vandermeulen's gone around, and he's taken Matthew Stoyles with him. I think they just got a bit caught up there under brakes. So
Yeah,
not what he would have
stuck
hoped
on
for.
the brakes, didn't it? It just absolutely smashed on the brakes. Big battle for P2 brewing up as well, too. Stephen Varga on Rick Vergara. 2 for now, and don't look for it. Here comes Matty. A little bit further down the road, but Travis out for the M1 Racing team as well, too. He wants to get up there and say, okay, I've got Chris up there for the M1 Racing team leading this one.
Big sideways moment.
The
just enjoying the power on this asphalt circuit. And yeah, look.
There's your one to go from Barney.
We're on to a final lap here. Chris Burridge must be feeling comfortable at this point, but he needs to keep his wits about him. He's still got the walls of Long Beach that could take him out of this without a care in the world.
Yeah, don't look at those ladies in bikini down the beaches as well.
No,
too,
got to maintain your focus. Maintain your focus, absolutely.
Get your race blinkers on, my friend. That just look straight and forward and focus on your braking points. And this one's yours. What about your teammate? Your teammate's taking up. Only got Stevie and Rick up the road there, and I can try to take 2 for 1. He's gone for it. No, he lifts off on the brake pedal for the M1 Racing team partner. And that's the teammate, Travis Daly, P4. Really, really thinking about this is the last lap of the race. Well, it is the last lap of Heat 1. But where can he get the OT done?
So this is all going to come down to these last couple of corners here. Stephen Varga's going to be thinking about it. Trav Daly, though, has a big look up the inside. Knows he's not going to make it. Is Varga content to just take a P3 and some solid championship points here as we look ahead?
Oh, and Travis has lost it. But go ahead to your race leader.
Daly,
we'll go back to that one.
We'll go back to that one, absolutely. Chris Burridge takes the win in race number 1. Rick Vigor and Stephen Varga taking the points. And Matt Vanderkraan manages to salvage a P4 despite everything that happened along the way. Let's take a look back, though.
Yeah, because Travis, I don't know what happened, but Travis cooked it into the corner. And this is like a little bit too quick, day late, double short. And he's just lost it there. Little tag, actually. And that's collided those drivers.
Oh.
Bingo. That's huge. That's not the incident I was thinking of.
No, that's Trav Hunt.
Travis. Yeah.
I'm not sure what's happened to Trav Daly on that last race.
Trav Daly's lost it on his own.
Yeah, hasn't even flagged. Hasn't even flagged. Let's see if you can find it there, mate. And,
I can show you a little picture if you want, my friend.
Yeah, let me know if you've got a bit of a view of that. We'll take a look forward. So let's bring that up, and while we're waiting...
See, he's lost it here on the back end, and it should come up there in a second. There, he's lost it there. Sorry, looking a little bit closer on that one, but yeah.
Just overcooked it a bit.
Yep. Yeah, and that's crucial. Because he's lost some crucial points to a championship contender when his teammate just won the race. You don't want this one to come down to the last race of the season. We saw this recently, didn't we, in another racing league where you could lose out by 1 or 2 points.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Let's take a look at the results from race number 1 this evening as we bring in P2, Rick Vigor. Rick, You're with
Hey
us.
guys.
How are you, mate?
Yes. Yeah, a little bit shocked.
Yeah, look,
But,
can't argue
yeah,
with the
very happy.
P2, and apparently it's just survival of the fittest out there tonight, isn't it?
It is. It's that sort of track. You just got to be consistent. Yeah.
Bit of luck maybe as well, getting through that first big bingle.
Yeah, I could see it. I was lucky. I was in a lucky position. I could see it happening, and I thought, oh, hope I get through. But yeah, managed to. So yeah,
Hey, that's all it takes,
the
mate.
luck.
That's all it
Take
takes.
the luck when you can get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. Enjoy the P2, and let's see what you've got up the sleeve for race number 2 this evening, Hannah Hayray.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks for dropping by. We will speak to P3 now. We've got Stephen Varga in the room with us. Stephen, a nice little finish, just again making it through to the end is the key tonight for getting the points done.
Yeah, there's a lot of walls around, and if you can get away with a straight car, you're doing something right, I suppose.
Yeah, can't argue with that. Anything you're expecting to go a little differently in race number 2 this evening? Obviously, a compulsory pit stop to think about, but anything you want to give us a bit of an idea to look out for in terms of strategy and passing moves?
No idea really. I mean, we've got the window that we can pit in after lap 5 and before lap 20. So I don't know, expect people to pit halfway. Some might try and go for a bit of an undercut, but yeah, not too sure what's going to happen.
All right, Foxy, come on, give us a little inside information. Nobody's listening. When are you looking at boxing?
Probably halfway. Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Just a solid
Down my
halfway.
race notes.
You know what? Can't argue. Can't argue. I don't think there's a right way to do it here at Long Beach, because it's all about the walls at the end of the day. Vargs, well done, mate. Enjoy the P3 for race 1, and we'll see you back in just a little while for race number 2, hey?
Yep, cheers.
Thanks for dropping by. And of course, our race winner joins us now, Chris Burridge. Mate, just surviving. Just surviving is all it's taken there, hey?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I had a bit of a stuff up halfway round. You might have seen it.
We did see it, Chris, but we don't need to mention it because
Mate,
they
I'm
also
gonna-
stuffed up as well,
I
my
did.
friend.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good.
We were just going to brush right past that, but now that you've pointed it out, how did you get past that from a mental perspective and get yourself back in the game?
I wasn't too bad. I mean, really, all I did was just totally miss my brake marker, and then yeah. Rest
No,
of the
Chris,
race
the
I was
brake
okay.
marker missed you.
Yeah,
I remember that
I
as
was
a race
going too
driver.
fast. I went past too quickly.
Mate, some very quick laps there, particularly towards the end. We were wondering if you were perhaps going to just, take it easy and just make sure you stayed on track for the win, but you weren't hanging around, and it's paid off in spades. Some excellent championship points for you out of race 1. Congrats again on the win, and we'll let you get back into the driver's seat and get ready for race number 2, hey?
Awesome, thank you.
Well done, Chris, and thanks again for dropping by. Biggles, let's take a look at the results here. Our top 10 on screen: Chris Burridge, Rick Vigar, and Stephen Varga in the big points tonight. Matt Vanderkraan, though, what a save for him coming back to P4.
Yeah, exactly. And it's big plays in here because you've got to remember Matty's leading the championship as well too on like 1,074 points if we're going to get the nitty gritty on that one. Stephen Varga as well too, P2 in the championship hunt. So he's going to lose a few points bad. But that's actually crucial for Christopher because now he's going to be in the 1,000 club for points. That's because Travis Hunt, where did he even finish? I mean, I thought Travis finished a little bit
let's take
higher
a look
than
a
that one.
little further back.
Yeah,
Because he had
I
that
didn't
late
realize Trevor
incident.
finished that far back, unfortunately.
that
'Cause
late
that's
incident
big
for him,
Travis. He was
P20.
third in the championship.
Yeah, that's going to cost. That is going to cost.
Yeah, and whereas all the rest of the opponents around him at the moment picked up some big points. So
Absolutely
that's one to
did.
forget. But you'll see you can flip that one upside down, as you say, and because we are in the northern hemisphere now, so turn those cars upside down.
Totally
see what he can do.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Well, let's get ready to go racing again. We do, of course, have the 32-lap feature race just about to open up on us. And I don't know about you, but I'm really keen to see just how these drivers approach this compulsory pit stop. Stephen Varga, quite happy to just make it a halfway stop and just take it easy through there. I reckon there's a real opportunity to get it done under safety car here and minimise the impact for some of these drivers.
Yeah, if we get a safety car, and let's not get into that boxing out a safety car scenario. Just make sure you get your water bottles ready. Here's a tip: out there. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, if you're driving, have your water bottle ready before you think about going to pit road. Okay, you don't want to miss it.
Absolutely. So the lineup looks like this. Chris Burridge and Rick Vigar on the front line tonight. Stephen Varga and Matt Vanderkraan right behind them, with Trav Daly and Gary Buckland taking row 3. Further back, Dylan Sipple and Reg James makes an appearance in the top 10. Troy Sipple right behind his son there in P9, and Matthew Stoyles in P10, with Scott Perrins and Damon Fisher just outside. Simon Haynes and Sean Vandermeulen recovering reasonably well to take 13th and 14th. Then Chad Biggar, Todd Martin, Daniel Sheriffs and Philip Marsh rounding out almost our top 20, with Anita Buckland and Trav Hunt all the way back in 20th after that very, very late incident. Saw him drop a bunch of places. So he's got some work to do here. Jason Dunn and Michael Hayes, followed by Peter Sattler and Peter Latham. And lucky last, James Hardy tonight, the Granny Spec Racing entry, will start on his own at the back of the grid for race number 2. As we wait for the drivers to just get gridded up. We know the big difference tonight, I think, is worth calling out, Biggles. We're very used to seeing a reverse grid of some sort.
Yes.
And that's not the case here at Long Beach. I think that's a really fair decision from a race organizer perspective, because it's the sort of track where reversing any of the grid has a much, much bigger impact in terms of, really, let's face it, penalty than it would do anywhere else.
Well, you caught me off guard on that one, because I thought there was going to be a totally at least a top 10 reverse grid or something like that, but it's not. So it's going to be a situation where Chris can get up the road and get on with it. Now, other drivers have been thinking about there's no other situation to get this done. Perhaps on track overtaking, pit stop strategies once again could come into play. Well, they will come into play, not could. It's going to be.
Just have to wait and see. Nothing until lap number 5, though. So between lap 5 and lap 20 of this 32-lap race, here we go. We're under starters' orders once again. And we are away. Let's take a look as they make their way down the home straight. Plenty of fast starts there. We're going 3 wide down the main straight here at Long Beach. And this could be just another version of race number 1. Let's see what happens. We've got 3-4 wide into turn number 1 here. Are we going to get spaced out in time? That is the question. Everyone's starting to single file as we come into the fountain. Bit of nose to tail action, and there we go. Angry Birds in the background. Yeah. That's Anita Buckland made it through. Who's ended up back there? Oh no, you wouldn't believe it. It's
Peter.
Daniel Sheriffs again.
Yeah.
Daniel Sheriffs again has been undone by the fountain. That's a horror start for him. And Peter Latham getting caught up in it as well. Further up the field though, everything starts to thin out.
Well, more importantly, actually, Rick Vigar and Matt Vanderkraan has got past Chris. So Chris for the M1 Racing team didn't quite get the start he wanted on this one, and at the moment the Angry Birds Racing team are 1 and 2, so they can control this race and dictate how they want to set this race to the rest of the field.
Way to go though. This is only the finish of lap number 1. So we've got Rick Vigar still holding P1, but Matt Vanderkraan right behind him. Chris Burridge finds himself back in P3 along with Stephen Varga. And here we go. We start to settle in as they make their way around. It's worth calling out that race control, after all of the madness of race number 1, so far in terms of what they've worked through, just a drive-through for Trav Hunt for the late incident, lap 15 of race 1. So he'll be serving a drive-through as part of this race. But not gonna feature. He's back in
Dunn has had a bit of a spin as well too. Jason Dunn has spun a little bit, dropped back to 23rd place for the 1-2-1 machine there.
We'll just take a quick look at that and see what we've got. Coming down into turn 1 and just locks it up and into the wall. That's a lot of damage.
It's gonna hurt your neck. Yes,
that is a lot of damage.
That's a side impact as well. Yeah, that's one that really is.
Not wrong. So away we go. Jason Dunn back underway, but finds himself back in P23 with Daniel Sheriffs. This is the race, though, for P1. Our top 5, top 6, all pretty close together, and a big train not far behind. I'm going to call it. These guys are going to just settle in at this point, and look to make their move, perhaps as part of the pit stops in just a couple of laps' time. Because really, there's nowhere to go to push through here. Vanderkrant's setting the fastest lap there at 1:19.917. Rick Vigar ahead. 92. Yeah, Chris Burridge straight afterwards at 6:99. So even then, Stephen Varga at 8:06. Gary Buckland behind that at 8:18. So that aero down the main straight really paying off for the drivers that aren't pushing their way through the air out front.
And Travis Hunt says his drive-through penalty that he got in race 1, so he's having it right now.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit painful for him. He's going to find himself well and truly down the back of the pack. So I would be surprised.
Unless it's a safety car that comes out the next couple of laps, and then he might find himself a smile on his face.
Well, you can only hope, right? That's about all he can hope for at this point.
Although we'd still have to go back in the pit lane, of course, and get some tyres and gas if he elects to do that, because drive-through you can't touch the car.
Yeah, not wrong. Speaking of, though, it does look like we're going to have the safety car coming out again.
Oh, yes.
So, safety car is out.
It
and
is,
that
and
will be because Jason Dunn has come to an end for the moment, at least. We'll go back and we'll see if we can find what's happened here for him.
He's parked, yeah.
Oh, he's popped the motor. He's popped the motor. Yep,
and he's on a dangerous. He's on a main straight, but
yeah.
he is off to the side. But it is, it's in a dangerous location. So race control's deemed. So Chad's gone in. Chad's got no front end as well too. So I don't know, perhaps was Chad involved? Chad Vigar in an incident, because he's got nothing on that front end.
So this is Jason Dunn coming down the front straight. Watch for the puff of smoke. Just there.
Yep, there it is.
Just there. That's it. The motor's just let go on him.
Yeah.
So nothing else to it.
No lubrication on the piston rings right now on that machine. That is done and cooked.
So he'll be sitting
Chad's
back.
I think Chad said a stop and go drive-through penalty, because it looks like, I'm not sure if he went in pit road. Oh, Chad's gone in and get a fast repair.
No, he's gone in for repairs, so he's in and out. Yeah. Making the most of it. That's not going to count as a compulsory pit stop for him, though, because we're not on lap 5 yet. So he's still going to have to make another stop. But if you're going in to take a bit longer on the repairs, and this is the way to do it under safety car, isn't it?
Well, considering he was practically running last anyway, so he has nothing to lose. But yeah, he's got a lot to gain, because what he's going to gain is a ton of time, because he catches the rest of the pack now. So he will lose no time in pit road and have a fresh new car. Sparkling
be on the lead lap still.
Wash, ready to drive.
Yeah, still on the lead lap. Can't argue with that at all. Make our way around again. Safety car leading us back down the main straight of Long Beach, and I suspect it won't be the last time we see it tonight. That Mustang GT3, look, it does look good. It's just a bit slower than I like to see them moving on. Honestly, I prefer the GT3s at full noise.
Oh, you got to take off slow motion. You're on slow.
Oh, is that what it is? 80 k's an hour, of course, around Long Beach under the safety car, and not surprising, we've seen the sort of damage these walls can do already tonight with just a slight error on your entry or exit lines. Already Jason Dunn.
How are you getting... Yeah, go ahead.
Just already Jason Dunn, the first victim here in our feature race. Wasn't even the walls involved, though. That engine just gave up, so... I'm curious to understand what's happened there. We might have to see if we can somehow get in touch with him at some point and figure it out. But
he had damage prior to that, so I'm wondering.
But no smoke at all. No smoke at all from the car until it popped. You know, usually you see it smoking for a while before the engine lets go, and it's almost like it's happened on the shift. So I don't know if he's accidentally downshifted, perhaps, and then just over.
Oh no, he's taking off the fence. Actually, I'm just going back and looking at the replay here. He's gone down here and
see if we can get this up.
He's overcorrected here. He's turned in. Maybe I'll be wrong on this one. And no.
Keep an eye on the revs.
Oh yeah, he's revving like mad at them. He's gone second gear, third gear, fourth gear, and then it's stuck on fourth. You're not revving. So it's just completely stopped.
Has he missed a shift, just over-revved it?
I think there's a technical issue. Something's going wrong with his racing rig, and it's not upshifting, and he's just sitting there like that. And at some point, maybe it has the upshift or whatever, and it's just burnt it and cooked it. That's it. It's downshifted, and it's probably just burnt it out right now.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a tech issue for sure, and unfortunately, that's retirement because of that. It's
yeah, he won't be getting back out.
I've seen 2 tech issues today, actually, in earlier broadcasts as well too. The drive pedals not functioning and a drive shaft not functioning for a drivers as well too. So the virtual world can be as cruel as the real world.
Just as prone to errors as the real world. As we go green again, Rick Vigar leads him out, gets a nice jump on his teammate Matt Vanderkraan. Chris Burridge, though, right behind them as they head down and take the green flag again. We are back in racing. Pleased to report Jason Dunn is actually back on track, so they've managed to sort that out and get him back underway. He's only 1 lap down, so he'll be hoping for another safety car and maybe a wave through to get back on the lead lap. And let's be honest, 6 laps into a 32-lap race around Long Beach, anything can happen, and most likely will. We'll keep an eye on Reg James coming through the fountain here. And let's see if we all make it through cleanly. Pretty sure
will there be
code
Angry Birds? Angry Birds code racing at the moment? Is there going to be a switcheroo between them? Knowing that Maddie is a little bit up in the championship than what her Rick is?
I don't know. I don't know if we'd expect that so early in the race. It's a big call this early. You've got to let Rick just enjoy his time up front for a little while, don't you?
Well, he's earned it.
Absolutely.
And, I think Maddie's quick, but it's more importantly it's Matt Cap to Chris that's in the M1 racing team behind him because they want to make sure that they can keep Chris at bay. If they feel that Chris is attacking Matt, then surely somewhere along the line, the Angry Birds racing team would go, let's do the switcheroo because we need to create a gap to him. That's probably the key to everything. If we think it was a team here, and I was an individual driver, especially this way through the season, about halfway.
Look, I admire your commitment to the team effort, mate. Because at this point in the race, I'd just be thinking about getting as much gap as I possibly can. And we see that starting to open up. For all of the pace that Matt Vanderkraan has, Rick Vigar's still managing to keep both of them moving along and putting a bit of distance to Chris Burridge there down that main straight. So there's certainly some pace in the Angry Birds cars tonight. And Burridge has got all the work to do. That said, maybe he's taking a similar approach to race 1, just going to let it happen in front of him. And we'll just see if he can wait for these guys to take each other out, perhaps, and find himself up in P1 again. Either way, right on the
Pete's
back
got
of
a
it.
little moment as well. So I'm trying to find what's happening to Pete because he's stuck somewhere. I couldn't even see him in the camera.
See if we can pick it up there
It's
as we come down again to the final couple of turns here at the race lead.
oh.
Nobody would have hoped for
And then
there,
he's-
I'm sure.
And he's going to wait for a lot of cars to spin around as well. See that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's some positions that you're losing, and he's going to be a little upset with that one, but spins it around correctly and on his
Not much else you
way.
can do. Not much else you can do. Once you turn around at Long Beach, you just have to wait it out. And Vanderkraan's looking for the move. Here we go, coming past Vigar into turn 1. Vigar's going to give him the room to do it. Just holds the brakes a little longer to let him through, but that's going to give Chris Burridge an opportunity to just catch back up and close the gap to Vigar. Vanderkraan now be looking to make his way out in front and try and take full advantage of the gift that he's been handed by his teammate, bouncing it across those curbs. They are just so aggressive, those curbs. They really don't want these cars cutting the corner. It doesn't seem to bother these drivers at all. They're quite happy to throw these tin tops over them and let them bounce around.
Todd Martin might have gone around. Todd Martin's in the fence. Todd Martin, and from it's about P15, so the Quantum Pex racing team is in big trouble here in Long Beach around the fountain.
A couple of Quantum Pecky's racing entries up
Can't
a
even
little
find him.
further, but yeah, let's see if we can catch that if you're able to see what's happened there.
I can, sir. It's going to be a little complicated, difficult, but somewhere along the line we're going to get what's happening. He's stuck somewhere around already that I can't even catch. He's behind the fountain. He's gone into the chase area.
So he's just run off completely, but look at it.
Yeah,
But
that's
here
why I
we
can't
go.
find him. He's gone off the track somewhere along the line here. Now this is Yeah, he's just disappeared completely. That's a disconnect or something like that, unfortunately, from Todd. When he's reappeared, I think he's reappeared in no man's land.
It's what
And
you
I've
want.
never seen that before.
And what I haven't seen
Unfortunately,
so
we can't
far
show any
either.
pictures because this reappeared like in the 4th dimension.
Oh, look, it's iRacing. Anything can happen. And Matt Vanderkraan starting to put some space in. So whether Vigar has the pace or not is really a moot point, because Vanderkraan showing why he started on pole after qualifying and starting to extend this lead. Vigar can only watch on as his teammate pulls away into the distance.
Yeah.
And that leaves Rick Vigar with the job of holding off
Vigar's
Chris
got the hold-up
Burridge.
job. Hold
Yeah.
up, Chris. Teammate
Burridge
orders,
and
apparently, at the Angry Birds Racing. And if anything, it's bringing Steven Varga into play, because he's hanging on to the back there of the number 042 M1 Racing Team.
Vargs, look, he's looking to a little loose there from Burridge as the rear end just steps off the curb. So Varga's thinking he's probably only about 7 laps away from a pit stop if he stays true to the strategy that he shared with us earlier. A halfway pit stop for him is going to be the name of the game. But let's see if that changes as he tacks on the back here. Doesn't have quite the pace down the straight though of Burridge and Vigar. Burridge will be looking to the inside here, I'm sure. Vigar's gone very defensive, so Burridge swings wide. And, that's big
spins him.
Big contact. Vigar's just
That's
spinning
huge.
around. There's going to be a big penalty for that, I am sure. Burridge will be absolutely fuming. I have no doubt that he's going to be seeing red after that one. As we go back, let's go back and take another look. So down the main straight, Burridge is all over the back. All over the back of Rick Vigar.
It's a tag in the rear, right, if I'm not mistaken. Switcheroo at the moment. He's got switcheroo to get the breaking point, and then
Vigar's
they've
just
turned.
overcooked it.
He's turned.
In going out.
Yep.
Vigar's gone out to really pressure him, and he's just overcooked it, and it's all gone wrong from there, hasn't it?
Yeah. So allows Matty the lead in this race, which he's had now for a couple laps. He's now 6 seconds of change down the road. In fact, catching a teammate more than anything to lap him. Then you go down to Steven Varga and Travis Daly and Vigar that we just saw in those incidents before. Which is also bringing Gary Buckland into play now. Troy Sippel. Chris Barrage, of course, that was involved in that little spinneroo before there, is now back in P7. Reg
Really
James,
interesting.
we haven't seen Reg James very often of late. He's now up in P8.
And what I find really interesting, Burridge hasn't taken a pit stop, so he obviously feels like the damage he's sustained there is not so bad, but he can't push on for a little while yet and try and make up some places before he does make his way into the pit. So this is Steven Varga and Trav Daly on your screens right now, fighting it out for P2. Just behind them, Rick Vigar still in P4 for the moment. But we'll be watching and waiting to hear from race control as to what that little incident might bring him. Gary Buckland, though, all over the back end of Vigar, and Troy Sippel and Chris Burridge right behind that. So this is the battle pack for P2 up in front, Steven Varga. Matt Vanderkraan, meanwhile, down the road by 7.5 seconds. He is absolutely flying tonight.
Yeah, it's Long Beach, one of those circuits. If you've got clear out the road there and you can get on with it, you can focus on your own racing laps and don't have to worry about anything else. No mirror driving, and you can kind of just keep to your own. That's always an advantage of any street circuit.
There goes Burridge.
In racing.
Burridge has gone into the pits now, so he's going to take his pit stop, use his fast repair, get back on, and hopefully, with a bit of clean air, find himself a bit further up the field.
He'll be first at the pit stoppers, apart from Peter Lapham back there in P18. So if you can get it clear him at the moment, he will be that. But Gaza, Gary Buckland at the moment, on the back bumper of Rick Vigar, but the Angry Racing team going to get side by side. He's going to commit.
Oh, they've done well not to come together there. It's a little bit of a door bang on the way out of the corner. Just Gary Buckland letting Rick know that he's there and ready to come past. Is he going to go for a bit of an under-over here? Can't make it stick.
Got cautious behind too. There's a gaggle of cars, all quick. They've all bunched up. So this is what you don't want to be. You don't want to be the choo-choo on the train, do you? You don't want to be the engine and looking in your mirrors going, everybody's following me, and there's a gap up the road. Travis.
No, it's not a place I'd be comfortable with. Not a place I'd be comfortable with at all, personally. Because look, on any other track, you'd feel a little bit better about it. But here, you're really trusting everyone else to not go up the arse end of you. As we see, there's the drive-through for Rick Vigor, and we see, oh no, Sean Vandermeer has gotten stuck on Damon Fisher. What a place. We've got to keep an eye on this, because if they don't get moving soon, here comes Trav Hunt. Damon Fisher's in a horrible spot.
They got to be aware. You got spotters on the radio going, go wide, wide, wide. He's going to back up the moment. He's got the clear space. Get up the racing. Get up the firing line.
Lucky.
Big go.
Very lucky to get back into that.
Car.
So he's going to take his pit stop now, and why not? So we take a look back up the road. Rick Vigor. Now Troy Sipple in behind, as we saw, of course. Rick Vigor's just been given his drive-through, so he'll be looking to serve that at some point soon, I'm sure. That, of course, won't count as his compulsory pit stop. And he's running out of time for that. They've got a pit between laps 5 and 20, so we're going to see a whole bunch of them. As we see a spin in the background, who's that? Gone back a bit far. I'm not quite sure who this has gone around. Is it Reg James further back that's ended up? Just tap there. Bit of a tap from the 21 of Dylan Sipple, perhaps? Thankfully, not the worst spot that we've seen someone get spun on this track so far tonight. So is Vigor heading in for his drive-through yet? There he goes. Whether this will be the full stop or not, really a moot point at this stage. But this is where everyone starts to dive on in and make their pit stops. It's getting to
I think
about that
Vigor
halfway point.
may have tagged Reg James, and before his pit stop, he's hit Reg James. So, wow.
Are we sure that was Chad Vigor, was it, or are we talking?
I think it was Chad.
Right. Let's
Let me
let's
have
go
a look.
back
I'm
and
just going to
have a
go
look.
back and have a look at this
Yeah,
at the
let's,
moment. I know.
bring that up
I
and
might be
you can-
absolutely correct on that one. No, it wasn't Chad. It wasn't Chad. You said Chad's in for serving his penalty.
No, Rick Vigor's just done his drive-through. Chad Vigor's just out in front of him at the moment.
Oh, it's Rick. Right. Yeah, I think it might have been Rick, actually. I can't remember this one.
See what we can see.
I think it was Rick, actually. No. It was.
We'll try and catch that a little later on. One of the Quantum Pecky's entries. I think it might have been Dylan Sipple. But we'll have to.
Yeah, it was one of the blue machines that did.
We'll have to have a look at that in just a moment. As we see, this is the battle for 8th. And sure enough, Race Control just letting us know. It's like they're listening in. Dylan Sipple's just copped himself a drive-through. So that confirms Dylan Sipple's the one that's unfortunately sent Reg James sideways there.
No, 14 was Rick. They got a drive-through penalty as well. The Nicol 14 drive-through.
Yes, that was the earlier drive-through. That was the earlier
Okay,
drive-through.
yes.
He's just served. We've now got Dylan Sipple, who's
And then
going to
Dylan.
drive through for that incident with Reg.
That was the one. So, thank you, Race Control. Exactly, that was one I was looking for.
So here comes Michael Hayes taking a big look up the inside of Peter Latham. Not going to make it stick there, and needs to keep an eye on Chad Vigor, looking for a way through as well. So a little bit of mirror management as we come on through. Michael Hayes just caught in the middle, playing some defensive lines there as well. But in doing so, has really given Peter Latham opportunity to open it up and put a bit of space in. So Michael Hayes now only has to worry about Chad Vigor behind him. And I don't know that Hayes has got the pace to hold him off. Here we go.
Hazy.
Inside.
Big trouble here.
And that's all
That's
she
the full
wrote.
stand.
Chad Vigor takes
Yeah.
the dive and makes it stick. But this is an
Steve
opportunity
Varga
for
pits
Hayes
us
to get
from-
back on the back.
So he pits from P3, I believe it was, at the time there. Drops back down a little places, but that's okay because
Stephen
he's
Vigor
got
and
that
Scott Perrins in as well.
They're all
See who
coming. I
else
think
is
more coming.
on through. So another one. So that is Peter Latham in, and also Michael Hayes coming in. So Chad Vigor finds himself with clean air. Now he has a stop under his belt, but was that the early stop for that bit of damage, getting fixed up very, very early on in this race. I don't think Chad's actually made his compulsory stop so far tonight. I could be wrong. We'll have to keep an eye on it over the next few laps. A whole lot.
No,
of
you're
stuff
right.
going
I don't
on.
think he has. His pit stop's been 13 seconds stationary, and that's not a trophy.
Big slide there. Very, very lucky to catch it. All on his own, that would have been look a little less than ideal, let's say. We'll take a look a little further back. This is the battle for ninth. Simon Haynes and Troy Sipple just having a go at it between teammates. But the QPR
Matty
boys...
comes in from the lead as well.
So Vanderkran's into the pits, as is Trav Daly up in P2. We'll take a look forward. This is Gary Buckland continuing on, as is Matt Stoyles. So they're going to enjoy just a little bit of time out in the clean air out in front of this race. About halfway through now, lap 17 out of 32. Still a little way to go, and anything can, of course, happen. Oh, so lucky there to avoid Daniel Sheriffs. So lucky to avoid him. Let's take it back and just see how close that was as they come down into turn one. I'm just going to go on board here. Watch the reactions. There's Daniel Sheriffs. Not what you would have been expected to coming out of turn one, is it?
Yeah, just almost clipped him as well too. I'm not sure if that teammates, but deliveries look very similar.
Gary Buckland doing a fantastic job to avoid absolutely smashing him on the way through turn one. And that would have taken the Diesel Supplies team out tonight. Diesel Tune Adelaide would probably not have liked to see quite so much screen time for both of their cars if that had happened.
Oh, late minute decision from Gary, the race leader, to go in current at the moment for the old mate Suns. So, wow, those last late pit stoppers. It'll leave Matty into lead of this race at the moment. Matty's taking his pit stop, so you all know how quick he is, and the man that could be very much lead the championship again coming out of this race weekend with a good solid race with victory right now will do a good job, because I think he finished, if I'm not mistaken, about P4 in the previous race. So
yeah, did manage to salvage a pretty good result in race number one. So some more points for Matt Vanderkran there, and he's going to cruise on by Gary Buckland. Now, what we're watching here, though, Trav Daly and Stephen Varga, currently sitting P3, P4. They're going to come past Buckland as well, so that's going to put them up into podium position. But look just a little further behind them down the road. That's Chris Burridge, still charging to try and get his way back up to the front. Tell you what, he's not letting off, is he?
And Todd Martin's gone around somewhere, my friend, on the track there for 71 Racing Team. That's
Todd Martin again.
He's facing the wrong direction, and he has to turn around. Oh, it's good. Oh, Austin Powers is on the firing line too.
Could be risky. Let's go and take a look and see what's happening.
Oh, someone's hit him. He's burnt it out. This could be a pace car. There's an incident here. This could be a pace car. Almost take his teammate out. He can't turn. He can't move.
That car's done.
And
that car's done.
He's on the firing line. This is dangerous here right now. Somebody's going to clip him. And where is that on the exit of? But this is big. This is big.
That's
and
turn one.
Sure.
That's the exit of turn one.
Lap. Yeah, he's still there, right? So keep an eye on him.
Still sitting there.
On the race leader.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, race leader's hit him! There it is! Matty's just powered into him. He didn't get the message. There's going to be a huge incident here. There has to
Jason
be
Dunn into
a
the back
pace
of him
car.
as well. The safety car's coming out now, but it is just
it is.
A little too late for Matt
That's
Vanderkran.
a day late dollar shot on that one. No, Mikey, no. I don't know what's going on. That pace car didn't come out. That's just taken out our race leader. He's going to be absolutely fuming that didn't get called before. But then again, where is his spotter? Why wasn't they letting him know that there was a car stricken on the track there? He shouldn't have been going around that 100 miles an hour. He just set the fastest lap. Matty just set the fastest lap. And he come around that blind corner. Bingo. into the side of that stricken car, and this is going to flip things upside down, my friend, right now.
Go back and take a look on the replay. So Matt Vanderkraan has just set the fastest lap, charging through, and nowhere to go.
There it is.
Straight in T-bones. The very unfortunate Todd Martin. And then Jason Dunn, again, like just charging through that corner there. I don't know what's happened with spotters there, but clearly neither of them had any clue of what was around the corner. Further damage as Troy Sipple goes back into the rear end of Jason Dunn. Very lucky to not see more damage out of that. Very, very lucky.
And then you got to think that was actually should have been called. I mean, I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to get up, I mean, race control's got a lot to do here. No doubt on that one. They're probably looking at other incidents as well, too, and that's all occurred. And these things occur pretty quickly as well.
But, it's just a question of how quickly they can get it rolling, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's absolutely true as well, too. Because they're going to wait. They don't know if he's trying to get it on the loud pad. But we were watching it, fortunately, for a little bit, and we realized he was strict and couldn't go anywhere. Wasn't moving. The wheels, I think he tried to spin up the wheels a little bit. Couldn't get it going. Once again, we don't know. Race control's probably looking at other incidents, too. But that's just huge. It's taken out our race leader. That's big for his championship. Matty's down currently in the moment P11. No doubt some damage on that machine as well. So
huge damage. He's going to have to go and get the repair done. Thankfully, he's got a fast repair up his sleeve, but that's going to really damage his chances tonight. He's still got 12 laps to go, so there's an opportunity for him to salvage something again from race 2. But Long Beach claiming yet another victim. I'm not surprised.
A few, my friend.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Rack them and stack them. Victims coming tooth and nail right here. That's one for the chat. Chat's pretty quiet about that, but I'm just like your opinion on that. There's a lot that went on pretty quickly. It all seems a slow-mo, and it does when you're looking at one car in one place at one time. But there was a lot of other action going on track at the time, and it all started, I think, as we had talked about it before, wasn't it? That what had started, I believe, with, who went around it originally? Was it James? Or I'm just trying to go back and look at that one.
It was originally Todd Martin that went around there.
Martin.
Yeah, so if we go back and let's take the opportunity to have another look, because pace car will be going around another lap as everyone starts to
I'm going back a little bit.
Bunch it up.
Todd Martin, yeah.
So let's take a look at this. This is Todd Martin.
Was it turn 1?
Turn 1. So Todd Martin comes charging on in and just gets it sideways, ends up spinning it around.
That's it.
To try and find the view. Now, he's cooked the motor. Like it's had a lot of damage there. You can see him waiting for the traffic to clear.
Yeah, it's burnt, and he's trying to do a flipperoo, and then he's tried to, and it's stuck. He couldn't get it.
Just couldn't
and
get
then
it
now he's
spinning.
on the firing line.
Yeah.
Look how many cars get through. 1, 2, 3, 4.
David Fisher just glances in.
And then there's one that hits the fence. His teammate hits the fence before he even hits him.
So luckily makes it around. So basically, Todd Martin's tried to spin that car around. He's dropped the clutch to try and get it spun around, but because of the engine damage, I don't think he's managed to get the power down. And so instead of spinning it around, he's just fired it straight into the wall. That's killed the motor completely and left him sitting there. And then, charging down the road comes Matt Vanderkraan.
Yeah, any second now. Bang.
T-bones him.
That's because he set the fastest lap. Did a big lockup he did in the corner. Of course, there's another victim behind.
Yep, Jason Dunn.
I was amazed. There was about 6 cars that managed to get through there. And it took out our championship leader as well, to the man setting the fastest lap. That's what happens sometimes when you go a little too fast, isn't it? And AKA, no spotter letting you know there's an incident on turn 1.
I wonder how that's happened. To come through turn 1 like that, it was really clear Matt Vanderkraan had absolutely no clue what had happened.
Yeah, no, absolutely no. You spotted would. I mean, first thing on your radio would be like, anybody would be like, mate, incident turn 1, just slow, don't lift off a little bit, prepare for to go left or right. In fact, to tell them to go left because everybody had been going left to avoid the incident.
Interesting decision here, if I'm not mistaken. Race control have decided that it's reasonable that Matt Vanderkraan's given the lead back. So Matt Vanderkraan's now back at the head of the pace car, the safety car is head of the pace line, safety car coming in. I don't mind that decision at all from race control.
Why? Sorry? Why is that?
Well, I can only imagine, and we don't have confirmation from race control, but I think based on that incident happening the way it has, they've elected to put Matt Vanderkraan back to the front of the line as we get this race back underway.
Because he was involved in an incident. Anyway.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Post-race.
It's an interesting one. I don't know, but he's found himself back in P1 and has control, and there we go. We're underway again.
Did he get fixed? That car looks pretty dinged up.
Taking a look at Vanderkraan has not used his fast repair, so
Right.
he's still going to be struggling along, and he's already made his compulsory pit stop. Yeah, that's a very interesting one, and I'll be keen to understand what's happened there with race control. So we'll look into that, because I'll ask you to just keep an eye on the action here as I try to get some answers from race control on what's happened here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Watching the top 3 still battling it out at the moment there. So Travis Daly's in the P3. Somebody was asking in the chat there, how did Varga get into first place? Well, currently Stephen Varga is in P2, and that was because of the switcheroo from Matty, which we're going to find out that information from race control. M1 Racing Team 3 and 4. Currently at the moment, Quantum Pex Racing Team is 2 and 3. And the Angry Birds dinged up machine from Matty, who's still holding on to that P1 position at the moment, even with that damage, as we're finding out what is going on with the switcheroo after Matt was unfortunately collided with the stricken car earlier there off Todd Martin.
That's exactly how, Brad, Stephen Vargas found himself up through the field. We'll go back and we'll have a look at it, because that's going to be the major talking point this evening, I am sure, is that incident with Matt Vanderkraan going into the very unfortunately placed crashed car of Todd Martin. And Stephen Varga has taken full advantage of that and has come past. We'll take a quick look as these guys start to settle back into their groove. But let's go back and just have another quick look at Matt Vanderkraan's incident. So this is Vanderkraan all on his own, out in front. He's come around the corner. We've got, there it is, straight into the side of Todd Martin. Now keep an eye out on Vargs. So there's Jason Dunn backward. Here comes Vargs and Trav Daly. So that's how they made it through.
But were there caution flags in Matty's eyes at the point? Because he just came up the fastest lap. He just set the fastest lap just before the incident.
he was moving.
And
There's
it
no
must
doubt
have
about
been
that.
caution flags flowing to say there's a spin, because that spin just didn't occur, remember, just then. That spin had already occurred. At least 7 cars had passed.
It was not a neat
Todd's
thing.
car. So if they all got past safely, why didn't Matty?
Oh, I see what you're asking, actually, Brad. Yeah, you're spot on. At some point, Vargas has come past Trav Daly and has ended up, because he was behind Trav Daly, wasn't he? Let's see if we can find out what's happened there as well, and see where that pass has occurred. So bear with us as we take a look back and see if we can find that for you. Tell you what, Long Beach never fails to deliver, does it?
Absolutely not, my friend.
So we're just having a look now as we see them just coming around lap 24 of 32. Vanderkraan continues to hold the lead. And we're looking here to see if we can try and track down just what's happened to put Stephen Varga ahead of Trav Daly. Okay, let's go back and let's take a quick look at this. I'm just going to get some confirmation before we do. So let's have a quick look see here. This is Stephen Varga passing Trav Daly.
That's C1 right now too, Travis Daly, but out to overtake with Stephen Varga. So we might have to go back and look at the live actions, and then we'll kind of contemplate that one, I think, a little bit later on the race too, because they are still going for it tooth and nail on the track live
So
as we
Daly has backed
seeing
that
it too.
right off. to allow Vargs through. So I can only assume that that's been some kind of race control direction, because the safety car has come out just before that. There's the safety car, so they've caught up to theirs. So at the start-finish line, there's been some sort of instruction given that swapped Trav Daly and Stephen Varga around. I don't know quite what's happened.
I'm sure race control's probably pretty busy at the moment. They're looking at all that action too.
Look, with everything that's going on, yeah, I don't envy race control at all when it comes to Long Beach, ever. I have to.
No, Mikey, no.
There's just too much going on.
It's not going to happen that way.
As Matt Vanderkraan tries desperately to hold on to P1 here, still must be carrying quite a bit of damage. Although perhaps that hit wasn't quite as bad as it looked when we first saw it. Because
look, it's Matt, my friend. You'd have to take off 3 wheels in order for that guy to be slow.
You would. He's still lapping in the 119s.
He could drive the wheels off that Angry Birds machine in a heartbeat and still run away. So you know, I got to take it away from the old Matt's domain. This is the reason why you got a championship in this racing league in the making here, and especially in a wounded car. He's still holding off some super quick drivers here. As much, I mean, if this car was not damaged, he'd probably be up maybe a second to 2 on the road down the road. And a wounded beast, he's still holding off some quick drivers and crucially getting some more points in the championship as well.
Brad Daly calling out that Trav was told that he passed under yellow and that's why he slowed up. So let's go back and let's see if we can find Trav Daly's pass on Vargs. I'm gonna try and track this down without us losing
on the case.
We're on the case for you, Brad. I'm really curious as well.
Detective Jared on the case.
So we know that pass happened at the start-finish line where Vargas has come past Daly. Let's go back and see if we can find where they've actually swapped originally. Okay, so let's take a look back. Oh, big lock-up from Vanderkraan as he goes through turn 1, and that's going to put him back to P3. So Vargs and Daly now back out in front. Matt Vanderkraan's going to have to hold off Chris Burridge and Simon Haynes now. So we'll keep an eye on this, but let me take us back.
Matt's got to be careful exactly of this wounded beast. He's got to just bring him home here.
So
it's not too far.
This is where Varga's gone alongside Trav Daly coming down the main straight. And then Daly completes the pass back, holding his line into that turn. And this is where they both just survive that. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. No problems at all, Brad. Always happy to go digging here and see if we can understand it, because you know, we can't be everywhere at once. We're trying to bring you all of the action, and in doing so, we miss a couple of these along the way. That is very interesting, because Vargs has just passed him down the main straight, and if Daly's being told that he's passed under yellow, it's all going to come down to where that yellow flag has started, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be one race control be analysing that, because there's a lot to actually analyse on.
I don't envy them in the slightest, mate.
But Vargs has got to take advantage of this. So all you do as a racing driver at the moment is continue on your race, unless race control is actually going to specifically instruct you.
He's still pushing that car. He's big moments out of all of these corners. He's absolutely pushing the limits of those tyres. 4 laps to go here.
It's wounded.
Yeah, he's just got to hang in there and try and salvage something out of what has been. Look, it's been another shocking race for him tonight through mostly no fault of his own, and to be in P3 still, granted, I think helped along a bit by maybe a race control decision there, but hopefully it all kind of unravels for us in the wrap-up, and worst case scenario, we're going to have to keep an eye on the stewards report afterwards. But this is where the action is at the moment. Stephen Varga out in front from Trav Daly. Matt Vanderkraan somehow managing to get that car still moving at pace, despite the huge incident just a few laps ago. And now we've got a proper pace train again.
We had the top six drivers separated by 2 seconds at the end of this
Nothing
race.
in it.
That's to show you how much there is, nothing between them exactly. 2 seconds here in Long Beach, as we knew in qualifying. That was separating the top 20 drivers through qualifying. Now we have the top 6 drivers at race pace, separated by just under shy of 3 seconds. So this is all to play for. One little tangle of the fence there, and you forgot a dance move, you're in trouble.
Tapping the fence there, Vanderkrant and Burridge both using every little inch of the track and perhaps trying to use a little more than is available. Just leaving a little bit of paint behind. To remember their time at Long Beach. We see Gary Buckland getting very loose as well as he tries to hang on to the back of this train. Stephen Varga and Trav Daly continuing the battle out in front, but Simon Haynes now looking to make the move past Chris Burridge, and he's going to get it done.
It's going to make a stop fight. That's one thing to overtake.
Pulling it up is
thing
a
to
whole
make
other
it
question.
Stick. Yes, exactly. So that's huge.
But he's held on to it.
I'll keep an eye on the battle for the front as well, as I'll be arriving shotgun with Travis actually in the middle there. So that's Stephen Varga up the road there. And of course, you got the big battle for Chris Burridge there. Gary, I think, is that Simons? Keep an eye on, he's going around there, maybe. I can't quite sure if Simons does. Hopefully
I'm not sure what's happened. We
lost Simons completely, maybe. I'm not quite sure.
we've lost a couple here, and I'm just trying to figure out where we're at. Now we're looking okay now.
Yes, I'm
So just to pick it back up, had a few connection issues there. iRacing loves to chuck us into our scenic view when that sort of thing happens, and it can take us a moment just to regather. But Chris Burridge has taken it back from Simon Haynes amongst all of that. So we'll keep an eye on your onboard there. That's from Trav Daly, I believe, isn't it, Biggles?
Yeah, switched it over to the leader, and Varga looking back on his rear wing just to keep an eye on everything that's going on. In fact, we'll go for the gearbox so you can see a little bit more. But he's still maintaining that gap down the road. That's P1 and P2, of course, picture-in-picture. You got a big battle on the gaggle of cars there for the...
For P4, we're keeping an eye on. So Chris Burridge out in front. We see Simon Haynes and Gary Buckland up alongside each other. Buckland's made the dive. And what a time to do it, because there's nowhere for Haynes to respond. So Buckland up into P5. We're 3 laps to go here. We'll be down to 2 laps to go in just a moment as they come across the line again. And action happening all over the track tonight. Vanderkrant somehow continuing to keep that car moving around the track. But Chris Burridge holding on to 4th while Buckland and Haynes battle it out behind. Keep an eye in the background there. That's Trav Hunt and Sean Vandermeer in P7 and P8. They've still got a couple laps up their sleeve, and they could well close up on these 3 drivers here.
I think that Stevie should have it done now. Travis is running a little out of time a little bit to apply that pressure. And he has to start applying the pressure to the Quantum racing team. So M1 versus them, Angry Birds Racing. And somehow Matt Vanderkrant is back in P3, along with everything that's been going on, a wounded beast. Still got some tyres attached to it, even though he could probably still drive it on 2 tyres. He's still holding in for the P3. You can see in your pictures right now, that is your top 3 drivers down to the top few laps here to decide our feature race. It's been a dramatic one at that, and it will still continue to be a lot more dramatic after the race. As
I can't wait to read
Varga
the
goes
Stewart's
in the
report.
fence.
It's going to make very interesting reading tonight. Long Beach, always an exciting track and always delivers when it comes to incidents, because there's nowhere to go. As we see Trav Daly looking for a way past Stephen Varga. Varga is throwing that car all over the track, trying to be as unpredictable as he can. Daly barely holding on to traction. Let's have a look back though. Here we go. We're going too wide into turn 1. Buckland makes a very wise decision to back it out at the last minute. Chris Burridge probably just wiping a bit of sweat away inside that helmet, because that was a very, very close call.
Yeah, 2 more corners, 3 more corners or so, give or take there, for Travis to try to bring it to Vargsy and take the race win, because it is the last lap. This is it. The next one flag you're going to see is Barney with a checkered flag waving. Only a couple of corners. Got to exit out of here in the back stretch at the moment. And then, of course, only a few more corners. The hairpin will be the last one, the tricky one. But there's a short run down to the start-finish line. So to get a tie break on that one's very, very difficult.
Not a lot of space here. Daly
No.
really needed to make a run at it there, and I don't think he's got it. He's just going to settle in and maybe go for the points. But it's all down to the hairpin now, isn't it?
Yeah, and
If
you
you
can't.
can
You've got to
get
get
the
perfect
exit
of
here.
exits. Not enough. That's it. I'd say Vargas has got it. Vargas has got the race win.
And there it is, Stephen Varga crossing the line. Your winner in race 2 from Trav Daly and Matt Vanderkraan bringing home P3 somehow. We take a look a little further back though. Gary Buckland bringing in P4. Oh, taking a look back. Chris Burridge. Is he out of fuel? Oh,
It
how's
certainly
this?
looks like it.
Daniel Sheriffs.
Oh, he needs to push. Yeah, he's getting a
Daniel
push.
Sheriff's giving
He's
him
out of
the
gas.
push. I love to see this. I love
That's
to see this.
gentleman behaviour right now. Yeah, exactly. Because you realise, okay, oops, and you know what? Give him a push. Sacrifice a few places there, and good.
Well
on
played,
that, but-
Daniel Sheriffs.
Yeah.
Chris
Daniel,
Burridge
well done.
running out just shy of the line. As we see Stephen Varga coming around to celebrate his win. Nice big slide through these corners and making his way back to the pits. I tell you what, this race had a little bit of everything, didn't it?
Well, yeah, and more.
And more. And more.
And more, because it ain't finished yet, my friend. It ain't finished yet. Even though the race chicken flag may be waving, there is a lot behind the scenes that still be evolving.
Yeah, I would hate to be in race control shoes right now. As we see Stephen Varga making his way back to the pits. You know what? He's still got tyres. Let's see what he's got. We saw some pretty impressive action from Chris Burridge last week on that final lap. Oh, watch that wall. Watch that wall, Vargs. You still got to race this again next week, mate.
I don't think he's going to worry about returning to center on this one.
No, not wrong. Not wrong. So Stephen Varga taking out race number 2. We're going to bring Matt Vanderkraan into the comms booth. Matt, how are you this evening, my friend?
Mate, that was an adventure. Whoopee!
Adventure is absolutely the word for that one. We've been trying to figure out just what's happened. Was it a race control decision that's put you back into P1 under the safety car?
Yeah, correct. I checked with race control that I was in the lead in the safety car, and whether I was allowed to go back up the lead or had to maintain track position. I got the green light from race control, and was fortunate enough he put me back in P1.
Wow. So look, mate, it's probably about the best outcome you could hope for after coming around turn 1 and T-boning the unfortunate Todd Martin just sitting there with nowhere to go. Really impressive to see the pace that you maintained after that. How much damage were you actually carrying after hitting Todd there?
Yeah, fair bit, front and rear. I didn't have a lot of straight line speed. It still cornered okay, but I really tried to focus maintaining those apexes, those exits, and Vargs had a run on me down that front straight, and I saw him coming down the inside, so I just tried to leave him room, but that then sent me in the wall, which let 2 cars through, which was a bit of a bugger, but it was good fun trying to track him and Trav down.
Yeah, Matty, where was your spotter for turn 1?
Non-existent, apparently, Biggles.
I was
Non-existent.
gonna say, mate, you just come off the fastest lap. You absolutely lead-footed it around the corner there, and all of a sudden you can see a car in the middle of the track. And you're like, uh-oh, nowhere to go. I don't want to let you know, but about 6 cars avoided them earlier. Mind you, they weren't seeing the fastest lap prior to that one, my friend. So.
Not ideal, but I was going hard again. I thought, I had a really nice lead at that point in time, and
You're not wrong.
them's the breaks, isn't it? It was very disappointing. It was just as usual. I had a ball. It was an adventure out there, and great to see Vargs on the top step and Trav on the podium.
Absolutely, and look, salvaging a P3 after all said and done, fantastic result for you, Matt. So some more championship points coming your way. Go and enjoy them, and thanks for dropping by, as always, to have a chat to us.
Good on you, boys. Love your work as always.
I have to say,
Vanderkraan
Jared,
there,
that's another one,
P3.
isn't it, my friend? Like, coming home after it with a wounded beast, having the attitude, being positive, is the son of a champion. So no doubt this man's on his way to the championship, as you've got more gladiators to speak to about this arena.
Absolutely. We talk about champions. The race 2 champion this evening, Stephen Varga. Good to have you back in the room with us, Vargs. It feels like we were just talking to you after race 1. Fantastic win for you in race 2 tonight, though. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. I got lucky. I was just poking my nose up to Matty and letting him see me, and was going to go through side by side, and once he had the preferred line, I'd have to back off, but he had a bit of a whoopsie moment and looked to the tyres.
And it's always the story at Long Beach, though, isn't it? It's an unforgiving track at the best of times, and when he's carrying a bit of damage like that, it's not hard to understand why you would have been looking for exactly that moment to charge on through. But let's talk about luck. How on earth did you manage to make it past Todd Martin without a scratch?
Oh, it wasn't that one I was thinking about. I was thinking about the other one that happened before the safety car.
Yeah, there's been a couple in race 2. It's been an eventful one, but we saw, to take you back to it, Matt Vanderkrant T-boning Todd Martin just around turn 1, and then yourself and Trav Daly charging through just behind, and somehow you both managed to make it through without tagging any of them. Jason Dunn as well getting caught up in it. Was it a last minute reaction that got you past there, or did you know it was coming?
Last minute reaction, I guess. I don't know. I just saw there were cars there and went around them.
Saw car, turned wheel.
Yeah.
It's all down to reaction speed with those sort of incidents, and bloody impressive. We took a couple of looks at it, and I'm still stunned that you survived it, and then to come back and steal the win away. Well deserved tonight, Vargs. Absolutely.
Yeah, cheers, mate. I should go buy a lot of chicken.
Oh, look,
yeah.
give it a shot.
Let us know the numbers, mate, because you're on fire.
Cheers.
Well done, Stephen Varga, taking the win there in race number 2. Tonight just had it all, didn't it, Biggles? That's been one hell of a race, as always, for Alliance Sim Racing, putting on a show. Let's take a look at the results, and then let's just do a bit of a wrap up and try and wind that up. I'll wind all that up for everybody. Stephen Varga, Trav Daly, Matt Vanderkrant, our podium in race 2. Gary Buckland holding off Haynes and Trav Hunt just behind. Sean Vandermeulen can't be disappointed as well. Managed a P7 in amongst all of that, and Reg James a P8 out of it. Further back then, Peter Latham and Michael Hayes rounding out the top 10. And then Scott Perrins, Chris Burridge. Look, Burridge getting the push across the line from Daniel Sheriffs. Just some of the fantastic sportsmanship that you love to see here in iRacing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, of course. It could have been a lot worse, and you got to give it to Chris. That was doing a fantastic job, of course, into the first heat race as well too. And he was right up there battling with the rest of the gladiators, because Chris won the first race. But unfortunately, it came a little bit $1 short on the gasoline in that one, but finished at P12, as you mentioned. The rest of the field to follow.
Yeah, and we take a look at some of the other results in and around there. So Matthew Stoyles must have just snuck his nose in between Chris Burridge's rear bumper and Daniel Sheriff's front bumper as Sheriff's pushed Burridge across the line. So Stoyles picking up a P13 right in the middle of it. And you have a look at the splits there. 5/100th of a second ahead, Matthew Stoyles, so just poking the nose across before Daniel Sheriffs. James Hardy, though, ahead of Rick Viggar, then Peter Sattler and Nita Buckland a little further back. Damon Fisher, the last to finish on the lead lap, and he had a couple of near misses as well tonight, where he could have copped a lot more damage and kept his nose just out of the way in a couple of instances. Chad Viggar finishing in P20, a lap down. And then Todd Martin, look, to finish only 2 laps down after getting hit over and over again with that turn 1 spin. Not much more you can say there. Troy Sipple and Dylan Sipple having a bit of a shocker and putting their cars out early. Jason Dunn and Phil Marsh also just unable to continue with some damage earlier on. But that is round 4, done and dusted here at Long Beach. Biggles, I asked you a little earlier what you expected out of tonight. I could not have predicted that we'd have quite that sort of action going on this evening.
You said about the safety car, and you were right on that one, as you always generally are, right, my friend?
Oh, look, I'll take it, but...
That many?
Yeah,
and
right?
that much dilemma? I think it was a little bit more like the Ferris wheel and riding course in the theme parks, the various theme parks, stuff like that you can have on the west coast of California. Yeah, I think we're going to need to go in there and dump and have a bit of a surf and stuff like that, and jump into the ocean and have a swim because cool down. That was a hot race.
Yeah, look, a hot race, a hot mess at moments as well. But yeah, Simon Haynes in the chat, Long Beach's demo derby. You're not wrong, Simon. That was phenomenal. and look, very glad to have been here to bring it all to you. But that, of course, ends our coverage this evening. Biggles, thanks again for jumping in the booth. Always a pleasure to have you here alongside me as we bring all of the Alliance Sim Racing V8 Supercar Series to those watching at home. We're going to see you back again next week, I hope.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
It's V8s. It's Australian, mate. Ford versus Holden. Come get any more Aussie than that.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. We continue, of course, next week, Round 5, Road America. So 15th of October. We have, of course, kicked over to daylight savings time here in Australia. So you might have recognised that our time may have been, depending on where you live, an hour earlier than it was last time. It's certainly an hour earlier for those of us here in Queensland. But what hasn't changed is the fantastic racing that we are seeing from all of the drivers in this series. So until next time, we're looking forward to bringing the racing to you again. But on behalf of Biggles and myself here for Simple Racing Broadcasts, it's been an absolute pleasure once again calling the action in the Alliance Sim Racing Supercar V8 series. Season 2, almost to the halfway point. We've got plenty more ahead, so stay tuned. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. And we will, of course, see you back again next week for more racing action. Until then, drive safe, take care, goodbye for now.